Is war coming to the doorstep of every home in the UK? Hostile attacks against the country are said to be increasing in speed, scale and intensity. Like this fire set in an East London warehouse linked to Ukraine by people operating on behalf of the banned Wagner Group working for Russia. An example of so-called grey zone attacks launched to threaten the day-to-day lives of us all.
We should be very concerned about the threat of grey zone attacks. It's not like the war we think we know. It's not like the wars we've seen in the past. It's a different kind of war, but it's damaging nonetheless. Causes disruption, causes damage, causes the social contract to erode, causes fear, causes us to lose belief in our way of life, and it causes us to live in fear. And that's why it's so important, I think, for everybody to understand that it is here and it's happening on a daily basis. It's not the sort of abstract war that one typically worries about living in a Western country for which we prepare with armed forces. It's here. It's just not clear what we can do about it.
These grey zone attacks fall below the threshold of war, but they are designed to damage the security of the UK and its allies, blurring the lines between peace and war. Sabotage, espionage, cyberattacks and disinformation all fall into this category. A report by the Defence Select Committee warns this is bringing war to every home in the country, with the MOD saying it's repelled 90,000 attacks linked to hostile countries over the last 2 years. And Russia is very adept at launching such action, in this country and across the continent.
I think what's most alarming is the fact that it's so hard to track these people simply because they can materialize at one moment, execute whatever their gig is, and then fade back into the population and somebody else will do the next gig.
But it's not just threats from Russia itself we have to worry about. The fire in East London was the first time UK citizens were convicted for working for the banned Wagner Group.
The people carrying out these actions are being recruited increasingly through what's called the gig economy, something that many of us use every day, whether it be ordering a taxi, getting food delivered, or getting someone to our home to carry out a job. Now, these are all perfectly legal and above board, but the same principle can be applied to something a little more sinister. And some of these operators are quite difficult to detect. They don't necessarily share the same ideology as their employer, they're just in it for the money.
It's a shift from professional saboteurs to amateur proxies. After the Skripal poisonings in Salisbury, Russia shifted to deniable tactics, showing the threat is also at home as well as from abroad.
It is incredibly upsetting that people would actively choose to attack our countries on behalf of an adversary, but it's in a perverse sort of way. It's almost a logical development of the gig economy. You don't have to have any sort of emotional links or attachment to your employer. You just do the one gig and then you submit proof that you have done it and then you get paid. And that is an incredible opportunity for hostile states. It is upsetting, and I think it's not just the result of the gig economy, it's also a result of people perhaps not feeling a sense of commitment to our society, and that in itself is a result of 3.5 decades of globalization, where we were all told, go out and create success and happiness for yourself. Well, if we don't have that sort of collective understanding of belonging to the same society and having a responsibility for that society, then when things turn darker, then we will inevitably get that sort of individualist attitude essentially playing out in really destructive ways.
But what can be done to combat it? Deploying more assets to Russia's doorstep to dissuade it, or doing more on the home front to ensure we are protected from this threat?
I think the most important step is for the government to be open with the public about the threats facing the country. And the argument is always made, well, you know, people would panic, people would get frightened. Well, it's okay to panic or to get frightened. It's better to have the information than not to have the information. Obviously, the government shouldn't reveal every detail, but it should talk openly and transparently about some of the threats facing the country, because if it doesn't, then how are people supposed to understand that this is serious? It's not detrimental deploying forces to the Baltic states or to the high north, but it's not going to do very much about grey zone aggression, because we are just not going to counter grey zone aggression using conventional means, because that would be escalatory.
The grey zone threats are a particular challenge to UK security, constantly evolving and difficult to counter. It's a new type of war that can have a direct effect on every one of us. David Civils-McCann, BFBS Forces News.
Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.